Ladies and gentlemen, Clojure and anonymous functions. So you're probably used to actually call def defn. So that is where you define a named a named function. So that is the usual way to define a function. But you can actually also create an anonymous function where you don't give it any name. So then you just call fn. Then you give which parameters your function should have and what should happen inside your function. This is useful. It's a bit like lambdas in Java when you want to forward a function to another function and then call it later. Then it could be done like this with anonymous function. You also have the use case where you have some code that you want to run right away. So if you have some cool aggregation, then you can create an anonymous function and then you can call it right away. I would say the typical use case is to pass it on to another function where you actually add it as a parameter, as an argument to another call. Let's look at it and let's dig into it right here. So here we have the anonymous function right here, and I have created I have a main in the bottom right here, and this main right here, you can see right here, it is variadic because you can actually, we can have as many arguments as you want to, and minus just means that this is something that you can run. So minus main is something you can run, and it takes any number of arguments. This is the docstring, and this whenever you have round brackets, and you call something like this. So I'm calling my demo anonymous function, which is we have right here. Okay. This function right here, it has no arguments or no parameters, so you cannot pass anything to it. It prints something out to begin with, as usual. And here we actually have the fun part right here. So here we're defining a new function. It takes a name, and then this is the body part right here. We are calling string hello and then name, and then we are calling it afterwards. So we are calling the same function afterwards. We call it with eta. So that means that this line right here should say hello and then eta and then exclamation mark. Okay, so far so good. Again, we print something out just to show what we're actually doing, and this time we're using a map. So here we have a map, and we add an anonymous function right here, and then this anonymous function right here. It takes this is the body right here. So we have the number. We multiplied by 2. So we have number multiplied by 2, and this is how we do it in Clojure. So first we have the operation, so we multiply something by 2, and then we add and then these are the arguments that we are adding to it. So we have this map right here. We're calling it with 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see how this one looks afterwards, because we will get the resulting map out of it afterwards. So this is quite cool. Then we are calling the map. The hashtag. This means that this is a set, and we call. We are using the modulus. We multiply with modulus 2, and then again we have a lot of numbers as. So we have a vector as the argument right here that we're adding right here. So to begin with, let us just see how that one look, and then we will continue with the rest of the numbers. It's the example it's a little bit difficult, but it shows that shows how to use it with math and how it's actually useful. So the first example is quite easy, where we have hello eta, just like we expected. The second example right here, where we have the map, then we get the result 2, 4, 6, and 8, and this is an array sequence that we get right here. So this is an array sequence, and we get this by. So we have the function right here, fn number, and then we multiply each number by 2. So that is how we are creating our map. So we create our map we are mapping. Sorry, we're not creating a map. This is actually an array sequence that we're creating, and we are taking each number, and then we are calling this function, anonymous function, on it, and then we are actually multiplying by 2. And then we are mapping that result into an array sequence like we have right here. And there's the same thing that we have right here. So we put in each number, and then we get the modulus. Then we get a modulus value, and then we multiply it by that, and so we get. So first we have 1, And then we get 2 because we are... Why do we get 2 right there? So we say multiply and divide by 2 right there. The shorthand syntax is a short way to write simple anonymous functions. Yeah, okay, that's... Yes. So the hashtag right here and around brackets, this is that's a short way. It's a short way to write anonymous functions. So that's also something that we need to be aware of. It's not always that we see fn like this. Sometimes we see the hashtag instead, and then again we have our anonymous function. And here we have %1 and 2 when we want to have multiple arguments. So we have this is an anonymous function right here, hashtag and then round brackets, and then we say we want to run the plus operator on the first and the second argument, and then we call it right after with 10 and 20. So this means that this should give 30. It just adds 10 and 20, so it gives 30. This is a short way to write the anonymous function right here. And let us just see if we get 30. Yes, we got 30 out right here. So that was quite good. So anonymous function right here, instead of using fn, we use hashtag and then round brackets. And here we have the body part. And this is the way we say that we want to take the first parameter and then we add it to the second parameter. And then we call it in the end. Quite cool, actually. It can also, this can be a little bit difficult to read. As you saw, I was actually having troubles in the beginning right there. So especially when you come from the Java world where everything is very explicit, then this part, when you see something like this, then you have to you have to read it closely before you understand what's actually going on. And that is why tests are really, really good. Of course, tests are always good, but they're especially good if you are new to a language. Then create a test that actually proves that you didn't misunderstood what it actually does. So then we have filter right here, and again here we have an anonymous function. The anonymous function, it has a body, and it will say greater than. It needs to be greater than, and then number 10 right here, and then we call this filter with all of these values right here, 4, 10. And 11 and 20, and then we should only get 11 and 20 out because we are filtering out all of the other values right here. The value needs to be 10, so let's see how it actually went down here. So here we can see the result. Here we have the filter, and then we filter out all of the values. Percentage, that is this. It is the placeholder for the arguments of the parameters that we're placing right here. So sometimes this will be 4, sometimes it will be 10, sometimes it will be 11. But it has to be greater than this value right here, or else it will not return true. And if it returns true, then we get the value. Yes, and then we are printing out something right here, and then we say let people, and here we're defining people to be equal to this vector right here. And inside the vector, we have some maps. And then we are sorting, and here we are using an anonymous function again. So we have this anonymous function. Here we use the keyword age right here. So we say that we want the age, and then we take the whatever variable that we get. That in this situation right here, it's people. So we actually put in this whole vector right here. It will get one value at a time. It will get a map at a time. And then we say we need to sort by age, and then we will have a sequence array sequence returned right here, and that's exactly what we have right here. So now we actually have our maps sorted out. So now we have them sorted, and we got it is sorted by age, where the lowest is where the lowest is out first. Yeah. It is actually quite cool. It looks very, very simple when you look at the official documentation, but if you dig into it and actually try out some real hands-on examples, just like we did right here, then you will see there are many more aspects of what is actually going on and how it can be used. I'll push this code to my GitHub account as usual, so then you can just look at it right there if you want to try out these examples yourself. And of course, it's not that much code. You can also write it yourself. It doesn't take that long. And when you write something, then you're more likely to actually remember it. Thank you very much for all of your comments. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again soon. And thank you for just being you. Bye-bye.